Welcome, welcome to the Heads Together podcast. I am your host, Jill Mokes. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. I've got a funny old positioning of this episode, really, because I am recording this episode before going to an event that I know is going to be life-changing for me. So when you listen to this episode of this event, I'll have already been to the event. So the event I'm going to is called Unbound, and it's in Glastonbury in the UK. And it is being hosted by the amazing Rebecca Campbell. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm obsessed with her Oracle decks, and I think she's just an incredible writer. She wrote a book called Your Soul Had a Dream, Your Life Is It. She wrote Light is the New Black. She wrote Rise, Sister, Rise. She's a beautiful author, and she is hosting the first live event that she's done for a long time in Glastonbury, where she lives. So the event is being hosted on the 11th of July, and this episode is coming out to you on the 14th of July. So I'll have already been. So it is funny because this has been prompted by me anticipating this event. And it's all of the things that I'm thinking about as I prepare for the event. And I thought, actually, you know what? I kind of want to share this with you now. And I'm sure, I have absolutely no doubt that I will do an episode afterwards, and share with you what I learned and what came out of the experience. But this week I want to talk to you about what are you really building in your business? So let's dive in. Welcome to the Heads Together podcast. I'm Jill Mokes, and I am obsessed with cutting through the noise when it comes to growing your business. Each week, via intimate coaching conversations and inspirational stories, I share what it really takes to get the results you want in a way that feels right to you. I am all about attracting higher ticket opportunities, building authentic relationships, and creating the abundant, full-fat version of your dream business. I mean, how many of us have beavered away creating a light version of what we really want? The thing is, I honestly believe when you're outstanding at what you do, there is no limit to what you can achieve. So, are you ready to put our heads together and make it happen? Let's go. Okay. So to prepare for this event and just, building on what I talked about last week about burnout and about, making sure we're building rest in and all of those good things, I've been doing what I do periodically, which is really zoom out away from my business so that I can look down at it and really come back to the bones of what I'm actually building. I don't mean in like a strategic reassess your business model kind of way, although sometimes it can mean that, absolutely. But in a really kind of deeply honest human way, what are you really building? Not what do you say you're building, not what it looks like from the outside, not what the algorithm seems to want it to be, but what is it you're truly building under the surface? Because I believe that somewhere along the line, so many of us drift away from the core of why we started. We start losing ourselves, and that's not because we're flaky, although that is a story that I will often default to telling myself. If I start going through this thought process and I start kind of feeling a little lost from the why of my business, I will often get a little bit accusatory with myself. Oh God, why are you so flaky? Why are you so scattered? And it's not that. It's because we're always trying to do it right. However much we might consider ourselves to be rebels and disruptors, I think that inside every business owner is someone who on some level tries to follow certain rules to keep up, to fit in, to be seen, to be palatable to our ideal clients, to be impressive. But what if none of that mattered? I think for so long I've talked about playing bigger, and I've realized that that's not ever what I meant. I was never really talking about playing bigger. I think I was talking about playing truer, if that makes sense. And that's what I really want to talk about today. That's what I've been giving lots and lots of thought to. Most people that I know didn't actually become coaches or creatives or guides, business owners, to impress anyone. Most people, that's not where they're operating from in the beginning. They started their business because they had a dream. They had something real to offer, a desire to help, or a story to share, or like a pull towards something that was more honest than the corporate world offered them, or the 9-to-5 offered them, or whatever path they were on that really wasn't theirs. But the trouble is then the noise creeps in. All of the marketing formulas and the 6-figure, 7-figure mindset hacks and the pressure to have a certain kind of brand or website or niche or launch, all of those things that we believe make up online business. And then I think that before we know it, the business that once felt so personal to us and purposeful actually starts feeling like a bit of a performance. I've definitely felt this. Definitely. If you're nodding along, I'm there with you, honestly. And I want you to hear this super clearly because I know this is true. You have not failed. You haven't lost your way. You've just absorbed too much noise, right? And I'm going to stop saying you. This is we. I'm in here with you. I'm in this category too. I'm in the category of needing to reconnect, right? We get to come back to ourselves, the whole of who we are at any time we choose to. What would it look like to build something that felt true again? Not perfect, not polished, not necessarily wildly scalable, right? Just really true. A business that absolutely supports the life you want, not the image that you want, the life you want. A business that genuinely celebrates you showing up as you truly are, the whole of who you are. A business that actually honors your energy. Again, I was talking about this last week. I think this is what really triggered this episode coming, and it's really occupied a ton of my thoughts this week. What is the business that would allow you to work in a way that feels really nourishing, really sustainable? One that lets your actual voice be heard, not the voice that ChatGPT has told you to sound like, not the voice that other people in your niche sound like, not the voice that someone you admire has. What would it be like to build something that allows your actual voice, truly yours, and definitely not just the one that you think people want to hear? I wrestled with that for ages. Honestly, I wrestled with it for so long because I felt like the way I talk and explain things, sometimes I talk too fast. Sometimes if my brain's in overdrive, I talk really slowly because I'm kind of processing as I go along. Like there's no consistency in my voice whatsoever. But you know what? When I let go of trying to emulate people who I thought were better at it than me, when I started actually letting my own true voice, this voice, be heard, that's when people started listening. The irony, this is, if I'd have just done this in the first place, the podcast would have grown so much quicker. And the thing is, it's not about burning anything down or starting things over, actually. It really isn't. It's about starting to ask, where have I overcomplicated this? Where have I abandoned my intuition? You know how much I talk about this now, about how since I have become so much more in relationship with my own intuition, since I have tuned in to listen to myself, things in my business got so much simpler, so much easier. So where have you abandoned those instincts? And what do I really want this to feel like? Maybe it's a better question than, well, what do I want my business to look like? What do I want my business to feel like? This is why one of the things I do with clients when I work with them is begin by saying, what do you want your business to feel like? I want you to describe to me a typical day. I want you to give me as much color and vibrancy to the picture. I want you to tell me how you're feeling when you wake up, how you're feeling at over lunch, how you're feeling at the end of the day before you go to bed. What is it you want to feel like? Because that is how you define success for yourself, right? Because if your definition of success is actually based on someone else's vision, someone else's timeline, revenue goal, content calendar, audience size, whatever, all of those metrics, we go through phases of believing to be so important. If that's your definition of success, it doesn't matter how well you do it. It's still going to feel empty. If you start defining success on your own terms, and this is what I've been thinking about a lot in preparation for this event that I'm going to, I've been thinking a lot about my life and about the work I do and what does success really mean for me? Because for me, it means having very spacious mornings. Success for me is working with clients I absolutely adore. It's having meaningful connection with people. For me, it's definitely about working with depth and not volume. It can mean being busy. It can absolutely mean that if that's what feels good to you. I actually love having seasons of being busy, but seasons of it. So I really love working in a seasonal way. I want my summers to be slower and full of months like this where I'm dreaming, I'm writing loads. I've got space to do that stuff in preparation for the autumn, which for me is always a bit more of a energetic season. I'm doing more in autumn. And then that prepares me for winter where, let's face it, I'm hibernating. I'm cozy. I'm not working all the hours God sends in winter. I'm back writing again in preparation for spring when I have more energy than any other season. Can you see how that can be your success marker? How seasonal, how cyclical am I letting my business be? That's a real success marker for me, definitely. So it can absolutely mean being busy sometimes, but being fully supported in that, not stretched to breaking point. And yes, for me, success is still about making money. Of course, it's still about growing, but from a place of genuine, authentic truth, my truth, what matters to me, not pressure, not from a place of pressure. I've got a few prompts, but I prepared for this because they're the things that I've been working on. And I thought, actually, you might quite like to do these too. Because I love to share with you the things that work for me. I mean, that's how I've built my entire business, is on sharing with my clients things that have worked for me in my business. That is my business. So here are 4 prompts that I would love you to have a think about and maybe journal on after this, or maybe just go for a nice long walk and sit with these. I don't know, whatever you like to do. First one, what do I want this business to feel like? That's the first one. The second one, this one's a biggie. If I let go of trying to impress or prove anything, what would I change? If I let go of trying to impress or prove anything, what would I change? The third one, what am I craving more of in how I work? And what am I craving less of? So in other words, what do I want more of, and what do I want to put down? What am I done with? And the fourth one, am I building what I actually want or what I think I'm supposed to want? That last one, I believe, can definitely kind of take your breath away a bit, but it can also give it back to you. Am I building what I actually want or what I think I'm supposed to want? And of course, when you journal around that, I want you to take that blank sheet of paper afterwards and just free write. Don't censor yourself. Let yourself be unrealistic. Let yourself be crazy with what you write down. Let it make no sense. It doesn't have to make any sense to anyone else, right? But just let it be true. There's one thing that's really important, I think, for you to know, because this is a deep episode. I feel like I've put you through 2 deep episodes back to back. That's okay. Maybe that is part of my own journey. Maybe that is part of the evolution of me and my brand, is that this depth of thinking for the podcast is where this is going, right? I want you to know that whatever comes up for you when you do this exercise and think through those prompts, first of all, you don't need to burn it all down, right? You don't have to go quiet. You don't have to disappear. You don't have to rebrand overnight. You just need to remember what you're really here for, what the whole of you needs from your business. And then you just need to take one small step back in that direction. And that's where you begin. You are allowed to build something softer. You're allowed to build something that is slower, truer. That doesn't mean it doesn't make you money. It doesn't mean it's not successful. But you're allowed to do it your way, right? I was going to make this one long episode, but I can see now that it is going to be way too long. So I'm going to split this. And next week, I'm going to go into with you what it looks like to simplify your business. So all this reflection work is all well and good, Jill, but okay, what does that mean? What should I actually do to get to this place of my business feeling like me and my business of being filled with the things that I want more of and less of the things I want less of? So we're going to really go into what that looks like. We're going to talk about how we can let the unnecessary stuff fall away and make space for what really matters to you. Okay. In the meantime, have a fantastic week. Like I say, I'm excited for my event, but yeah, I will catch you next week. I'll be here, same time, same place. See you then. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that getting our heads together this week has filled your mind with what's possible. If you love the show, would you do me a massive favour, please? Would you leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts? It would really help me put more heads together, reach more ears and expand more minds. Until next week, bye for now.